In today's video, we're heading to Versailles, one of the most historically significant places in France. It's about 30 minutes from Paris, making a perfect day trip or a 2-day getaway. We'll check out the best hotel in the area, some food options, and of course, the palace. Big favorite before we dive in is to hit the like button to help with the algorithm, and if you are new and you like travel, then consider subscribing. Welcome to the Waldorf Astoria Versailles. First is the room. It is pretty standard and pretty even vanilla to me, but it works. We have a bunch of lights over here. They are the stepping kind and everything's pretty low tech or tech 1.0. Some reading lights over here. Over here we have a TV as well as the mini bar and also coffee maker. There are Nespresso pods. I'm surprised they only give you 3 though and not more, but I guess that works. Kettle over here and paid mini bar down here. There is a pretty cool light up here, but otherwise the room feels a little bit uninspired to me, but maybe that's me. Over here is the welcome note. Even though Mandy booked the room and it's under Mandy and they can see Mandy's name, I found it weird that they wrote Mr. Hong, but yeah. We are delighted to welcome you at the Waldorf Astoria Versailles and wish you a very pleasant stay with us. Sincerely, General Management. Included with that, we got a bunch of drinks and also water. So here is a banana mix, water and more water, and also mango passion fruit. Also a box of macaroons. Coming over here, we have the closet, pretty straightforward. Over here is another one and more of a storage option with a safe. The bathroom's probably the most interesting part and well-designed area. And I think if you were looking from just in here into the closet area, then it looks a lot nicer. So come over here. So from here, it looks a bit more interesting due to all the artwork, but the main area feels a little bland. Toilet down here, single sink as well as mirror. Shower is going to be over here. There is a window that opens over here. And it's surprisingly short, so I think if you were very tall, you're gonna have a hard time. So for example, I'm like 5'11", 6-ish, so someone that is 7 foot tall would be up here. And then if you're like Wemby, I think you'd be like through the roof. Like, I think you'd have to duck. I don't think you can visit here. I'm pretty much already like close to the top. All the amenities are from a soap. There also are some robes. They do not feel that great. They feel kind of rough, nondescript robes, no branding, surprising. Also some slippers that also do not have branding. I feel like a lot of the other Waldorf Astorias have the name plastered all over it. They're also not that fluffy. They're it kind of feels like basic economy seats. Level of comfort, like you know how sometimes certain seats are just not the best? Yeah, it's fine, it does the job. Sun is about to set, we're gonna go out and have dinner, but see you guys in a bit. For dinner, we took a quick 15-minute walk from the Waldorf through town to La Tour. This is a renowned restaurant known for their French cuisine and especially their high-quality meat, and it's also right next door to a butcher shop. We started the meal with our must-have appetizers when we're in France, beef tartare and escargot, both of which are considered iconic and staple dishes of French cuisine. If you've never had it, beef tartare is finely chopped raw beef which focuses on freshness and rich flavors. Escargot are snails that are cooked in a garlic parsley butter sauce. I feel like among all dishes, this is known as the quintessential French delicacy. If you've never had it, it's known for its unique texture and rich buttery flavor. If you're not an adventurous eater or you're a bit scared of it, think of it as a buttery gummy bear. We also got a ribeye which was gigantic and tasted amazing. Even though we are visiting from the US, we were surprised by how generous they were with portions. The back area also has a bunch of artwork and yeah, overall really cool place. Great food, amazing service, and awesome ambiance. That for me is the trifecta and I'm excited to come back next time we're here. Okay, we're now at breakfast. It's a pretty nice area. Food and maybe presentation could be a little bit improved, but it's a nice view, good ambiance. Let's try the croissant. Croissant's okay. In the US, I'd probably be a 7 out of 10 croissant. Here, probably a 6. This also is plate number 2, so ended up going back to a few items that I was just in the mood for. Crepe, not freshly made, but still kind of in the mood for crepe. Not bad. Homemade apple crumble. The apple crumble's good. Sausage. It's okay. Bacon's okay. Mango dessert's pretty good, but I like mango pudding. Not too bad, some hits and misses, but again, great ambiance. One of the benefits of Hilton is that you get upgrades and free breakfast if you have gold or diamond status. Lots of options here for cards. For example, the Amex Platinum gets a gold status, and same thing with the Hilton Surpass and Hilton Business. If you go for the Hilton Aspire, then you get diamond status. Even though the cards like the Platinum do have high annual fees, you also do have a lot of credits to help you offset them. If you can get between 500 to 700 in value from the credits, then the annual fee is a lot more reasonable. On that note, if you want to learn more about cards, we have links on the website asksebby.com and also down below in the description box. Make sure the links are competitive, but otherwise it is a huge way to support the channel, so thank you guys in advance. The Waldorf Astoria property itself is also interesting. Along with being the best hotel in the area, it's also historically and culturally significant. It was built in 1907 and has hosted a ton of famous guests, world leaders, celebrities, and even royalty. For example, it was used for negotiations for the Treaty of Versailles, but the sighting did happen in the Hall of Mirrors, which we'll get to. It was also featured in movies like Midnight in Paris. There are two buildings and they're each distinct and different. The main palace was originally from 1907 and represents French elegance. You have high ceilings, marble floors, and impressive chandeliers. The pavilion was added in the 1990s, almost 90 years later, as a modern extension. It does feel a bit more like a conference hotel, and in fact, I think that's what it often is used for. If anything, the main draw of the pavilion is that you get a great view of the palace. If you're into food, definitely try to get a reservation for Gordon Ramsay Au Trillion. This is a Michelin-starred restaurant focused on contemporary French cuisine, but with a creative twist. As of filming, he has over 17 Michelin stars, and this is one of his 2 restaurants that are in France. The other one being a 2 Michelin star restaurant in Bordeaux. If you're worried about the dollar signs, there are a lot of other free activities at the hotel. It has a surprisingly solid gym, and it's pretty spacious and well maintained. The bonus is that there's not that many people, so you probably mostly have it to yourself. In addition, there is a nice pool, and even if you don't swim, there are a lot of other people that are just hanging out and reading books. I probably spent an hour doing some laps and just bobbing around. Super relaxing given the high ceilings and the light coming in. All they need is some sculptures and you'd feel like royalty. Definitely a vibe and a great way to rest your mind. They also do have a sauna and a steam room, but this area is a bit less impressive. At the same time, there wasn't really anyone else fighting for this, so you probably have it to yourself, which is nice. Most people are reading or hanging out by the pool chairs. If you'd rather be outside, there is a pretty nice tennis court. Also a ton of walking paths throughout the hotel. Even though we were here in spring and it wasn't in full bloom, it's still beautiful and a great way to chat and reconnect with your player 2 or yourself. It's also a short walk away from the Palace of Versailles. The palace is one of the most famous and historically significant landmarks in France. Originally, back in 1623, it was a hunting lodge for King Louis XIII. Compared to what it is now, that was pretty modest. All of this changed in 1661 with Louis XIV, the Sun King. He turned it from a lodge to a magnificent palace that would symbolize his absolute power. In 1682, he moved the royal court and the government to Versailles. At that point, it became the de facto capital of France. Outside of politics, it was also a cultural hub with focuses on theater and music. Funny enough, it continues today because they have an annual EDM music festival called Versailles Electro. In 1789, all of that changed with the French Revolution, where the royal family moved to Paris. The palace itself features opulent rooms, stunning art, and interesting furnishings. A lot of the art being portraits of the royal family, historic scenes, and mythological themes. Keep an eye out on the ceilings because there is a lot of artwork and it's pretty much in every room. If you're a history buff, you could probably happily spend a week here, but for people that are short on time, there are a few key rooms, the most famous of which is the Hall of Mirrors. This is a 240 feet long room with 357 mirrors that reflect light from 17 windows. Historically, it's been the place for ceremonies and also other significant events. One of the best examples is the signing of the Treaty of Versailles in 1919. Throughout the room, you have elaborate chandeliers, statues, and paintings that depict the reign of Louis XIV. It's also the Instagram room, so if you want a picture, then I would get here early, try to visit on the weekdays, and ideally during the off-season and not the summer. Unsurprisingly, this was Mandy's favorite room. For me personally, I really like the Salon of Hercules. It has the meal at the House of Simon, which is a large painting, and also the apotheosis of Hercules on the ceiling, which is insanely impressive. Also love the grand fireplace that's gigantic and made of marble and has a lot of small details. Another room that I really liked was the Gallery of Battles. It's one of the largest rooms and it's after the Hall of Mirrors, meaning that you do have a lot less people because people tend to opt out after that room. It does feel less claustrophobic, which helps. You have 33 paintings showing important military victories for France that span over 1,000 years. The paintings are gigantic to suit the room, and yeah, something about the room that just makes me pensive.
For me, I think it's appreciating that I'm alive and that I can learn about the battles rather than be in the battles. As someone that's more into war and battle history, this is a must-visit room. If you need a break from the palace, the town itself is also pretty cute. Lots of little stores and restaurants throughout. It kind of feels like Paris, but not as fast and less smoggy. We ended up getting coffee and some pastries, which were nice, but nothing to write home about. For dinner, we went to Le Boeuf de la Mode, which literally means beef in fashion. It focuses on French cuisine and beef dishes, and it's also culturally significant. So it's founded back in the 18th century, and it's one of the oldest restaurants in the city. The ambiance is pretty nice and homey, and definitely worth a visit. I think that I did like La Tour a little bit better, but this is a great alternative. This one feels like a staple that everyone knows about, while La Tour felt more like an if you know type of place. For me, La Tour is the meal that's imprinted and is now associated with Versailles. Again, if you want to learn about cards, we have links on the website asksebby.com and also down below in the description box. If you made it to this point, leave a cow emoji in the comments down below and I'll try to heart it and also respond. A few questions, but what's your favorite room in Versailles? What are your thoughts on the Waldorf Astoria? And also, would you try or have you tried escargot or beef tartare? Let me know and everyone else know in the comments down below. Big favor, thumbs up, share this with friends, consider subscribing, but otherwise hope you liked it. See you next time.